During Mark and my interview with Jess from Some Chicken, we started to talk about his book, Chicken Town. And whilst we were talking about it, he revealed some very moving stories about his early days.
There was a time when I was not okay, when I was in my 40s. And as a consequence of not being okay, I saw a therapist. And when I was working with the therapist asked me to put down a timeline of my life. And at the time, this male therapist had no idea what I was going to put. And of course, when I got to my timeline of 22, 23, I wrote that I was in some chicken. And strangely enough, the therapist became very interested in this. and then he found out that, you know, that as part of being in Some Chicken, we would support, you know, bands like Adam and the Ants, Susie and the Banshees, Sham 69, Tom Robinson Band, you know, all these kind of well-known punk bands of the day. And his eyes lit up, you know, he was kind of really into this. And this was someone who was my therapist. Not only was I in Some Chicken, but I was working full-time, you know, I had a full-time job, and I was married with a 2-year-old son. And that's an awful lot of juggling, you know, to finish work at 5 o'clock in a job, and have the van outside where you work, and you know you go off to Colwyn Bay, you know, and when you know you play a gig in Colwyn Bay, and then you know you get back at 8 o'clock the next morning, and then you have to stagger out of the van and go back to work, and how that has an impact on someone working, how that has an impact on you know, the family, my wife, my son. And also at the time I had a very unusual relationship with my father. My father was an interesting guy, in the sense that he was incredibly generous, but also very violent. And he used to give me some interesting hints and tips, you know, the sort of things that father passes down to son, like if he would say things like, if someone asks you to go outside for a fight, son, always let them go first, then hit them on the head with a chair. All these things that he would tell me, and of course, you know, these messages were kind of put into me from a very young age. Yeah. So I suddenly found that I was acting out things when I was in my 20s that really were messages that I got from my father. So not only is the book about being in Some Chicken, but it's also about my relationship with my dad. So it was quite a cathartic, powerful thing to write, and it ended up as 400 pages. So it's quite a chunk.
That's really, I was going to say that is a very moving story. What's the name of the book? How did you get hold of it?
The book is called Chicken Town by J.A. Follow, and it's available on Amazon.